Okay. Kayaknya nggak usah diperbesar aja, cuma.
Oh ya, apa? Ini aja ya.
Yeah. Okay, good morning, Miss. Good morning, everyone. My name is Elmi Khoirina, and my student number is 203020201035. Next. So in this opportunity, I'm going to talk about how to improve our vocabulary in the target language. This presentation will be in 3 parts. So first is about the importance of learning vocabulary, and the second is about how to improve our vocabulary, and the last is about some tips to expand our vocabulary. And also I will give a conclusion at the end of my presentation. Next. So now I would like to talk about the importance of learning vocabulary. So vocabulary greatly affect on learning language skills because vocabulary is something that is the most needed when someone starts to learn a language. And I will explain the importance of learning vocabulary of each skill. The first is for listening. So when we listen to others people speaking a target language, we will find it difficulty to understand what they are saying if we are lack of vocabulary. That's because we may have we will find a lot of unfamiliar words, so that we will don't know the meaning of what the speaker wants to convey to us. And the second is for speaking. The more vocabulary, the more fluent a person can speak. So the most important in learning speaking is vocabulary. When we start to speak a language, it doesn't matter if our vocabulary is not 100% correct. Our speech remains meaningful with the proper use of vocabulary. By having a good vocabulary, we will become more interactive because we are able to talk what we want to convey to the listener. And the third is for writing. So ability in choosing and using vocabulary is also needed in writing. It is just like when we are speaking. So with accuracy of using vocabulary, we can communicate well, for example, like via email or WhatsApp or something. And also when we want to make an essay, we will be, the reader will be easier to understand our text if we are be able to use the right vocabulary. And the fourth is for reading. So sometimes when the target language learner are asked to read a passage or a text, they will usually find a lot of unfamiliar words, so that the reader has difficulty understanding the passage. Therefore, if we have a good vocabulary, we can understand the passage easily without using a dictionary to looking out the meaning of the word that we find in the text. And the last importance of learning vocabulary is for grammar. So vocabulary can also affect when we learn vocabulary. For example, when we don't know the word class of a word we find, we can guess the word classes of the word if we know its meaning. Next. So now I would like to improve. I would like move to how to improve our vocabulary. So there are 6 ways to improve our vocabulary. The first is reading. So reading is one of the most effective of learning our vocabulary. We can read books, novels, short story, or newspaper, and so on. By reading, we can find a lot of vocabulary, both familiar and unfamiliar words. And when we find unfamiliar word, we can find out the meaning on the dictionary and try to remember the meaning so that it can add our vocabulary. And the second way is using a dictionary and thesaurus. So we can use online dictionary and thesaurus to looking for the meaning of unfamiliar word we find. However, we can use the dictionary not only for looking for the meaning. I mean, like when we enter one word in the dictionary, we will find synonyms, antonyms, basic words, and pronunciation and related word in the other forms when we looking for one word on the dictionary. So it is very helpful to improve our vocabulary. And the third way is learning 1 to 5 words every day. So we don't need to learn many vocabulary every day, like 10 or 20, 30, but we just need to learning and remembering 1 to 5 words, but we do it every day so that we can feel the improvement in the next few months. So in this way, we have to be do it every day. And the fourth way is using flashcard. So flashcard is a small card that has 2 sides. So the front of the card is contains the picture and word, and the back of the side is contains the meaning of the word. So the picture contained on the flashcard will help improve children's memory because visual have a greater influence on remembering and understanding things. And the next way is listening to songs and watching movies. When we hear a song and watch a movie, we may find many unfamiliar words. So we can figure out the meaning on dictionary and try to remember it. We can increase vocabulary with fun by listening to songs and watching the movies we like. And in a song and movie, we can find words or phrases that are commonly used daily and phrases that use slang language that is not found in the classroom. And the next way is practice newly learned words. So when we are memorizing vocabulary, we often forget a few days. Therefore, by using it every day, we will get used to hearing the word. It can be done by like listening, speaking, reading, and writing. For example, like we write some sentence that contains the word that we have learned before or make a conversation with other people. And next, and the last is about some tips to expand our vocabulary. So there are 3 tips. The first is find out the words that we doubt with their meaning by choosing them in the dictionary. While the meaning is true to what we think, it can help us to remember it better in a long-term memory. And the second tips is using other method. So if you think that using one method is not suitable and not effective for us, we can try to find out the other method to learn vocabulary. And the last tips is making a word list. So after we learn or we remember some word that before, we can making a word list so that we can write down the words and the meaning in our notes. So if we forget the meaning, we can reread the notes. Next. And after I present this topic, I can conclude that vocabulary can affect in learning target language skills such as listening, speaking, writing, and reading, and also grammar. And to enrich our vocabulary, there are many ways that we can do, such as use dictionary and thesaurus, learn 1 to 5 words every day, use flashcard, practice the word and others. And also we can learn vocabulary by fun ways like reading a novel, listening to our favorite song, watching our favorite movies like that. And there are some tips to expand vocabulary, such as checking the meaning of words that without its meaning and using other methods that we think that the before method is not effective for us, and make a word list to remember the meaning of the word that we have learned before. Next. So it is the references to do this presentation. Next. And that's all I can tell you about this topic, how to improve our vocabulary in target language. I'm glad to have some question from you, so you can give me some question and I will try to answer your question. Thank you.
Sorry for Elmi. For the questioner, I think you have 3 minutes more.
I have a question, Elmi.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Okay. Okay, Joyce, please.
okay, I have a question. My question is, can you give us an example to explain how vocabulary can help us to know the word classes? Thank you.
An example to explain how to.
Vocabulary can help us to know the word classes.
Okay. As I told you before, that vocabulary can help us to learn vocabulary, to learn grammar. I mean, for example, like when we find a word and we don't know the class of word, but we can guess its word class if you know the meaning. For example, like when we find a word book, we don't know the word class of the word book, but we know the meaning. Or we know it can define as buku in bahasa, so we can think that it must be a noun. And also, if we know that the other definition of book is memesan, we can also think that the word book is also can be a verb like that. So it can help us to learn grammar. Can you get my point, Joyce?
Yes, thank you, Elmi.
And anyone want to ask me again?
Do I have a time to ask you?
I think you have 2 minutes more.
2 minutes. Okay, you've already explained about the way how to improve our vocabulary, and I got one to improve our vocabulary is using flashcards. And my question is about what is the advantage by learning vocabulary using flashcards? Maybe that's all. Elmi.
The advantages of flashcard.
Yes.
Okay. As you know that flashcard has two sides. That the front of the side is picture and word. So and the back side is the meaning. So by the picture, it can help children to remember and understand the word more easily because image or visual have a greater influence on remembering and understanding things than verbal or audio. So we can easy to remember the vocabulary that we want to learn by using a flashcard. And also, flashcard, the size of flashcard is small, so it's easy to bring it anywhere. Yeah, I think that are the advantages.
Okay, thank you, Elmi.
Well, the time is up. Thank you, Elmi.
Okay. Thank you for Joyce and Josan, and thank you for all friends who. Okay, I want to end my presentation. Thank you.